Let's get crafty just in time for May the 4th be with you. And most importantly, never forget Yub Nub! Yub Nub 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 Yub Yub Nub Nub Nub. The base for your Ewok is a small paper tube from home, wrapped up in a piece of brown felt that's been cut to size. You'll also need a long, thin piece of felt that's a little wider than the diameter of the tube and will wrap over the top going about halfway down. We've got some extra pieces of brown felt and bits and pieces for decoration. Apply a line of either hot glue or tacky liquid glue to the short end of your larger piece of felt. Roll your tube, wrapping it up in the felt. Now apply another line of glue to the felt and a little bit to the tube and roll to attach. You could add more glue along the sides of the tube if you like, but this should be sufficient to hold everything closed together. Choose which end of the tube is going to be your Ewok's head. Starting at the seam, push in with your thumb, causing an indentation, and copy on the other side. Now grab a small section of brown felt and cut it into thirds, using the width of your fingers as a rough guide. We need 2 pieces for ears and 1 piece for the Ewok's hand. The ears will be folded over those 2 bumps, making a double thickness for the ear so it's nice and firm. Fold it in half and cut along the folded edges, rounding the corners. When you open it up, it should look kind of like a long, skinny bow tie. You need to make 2 of these for 2 ears. To make the hand, we're going to do something similar, but we're going to curve the edges of the open ends. So we'll be cutting a long, skinny oval piece. When you're finished, you should have 2 long, skinny bow ties and 1 long, skinny oval, so you'll have 2 ears and 1 hand. When you're putting your ears on, put your hot glue on just one side at a time. Put a line along the bottom straight edge and around the curved edges at the top. Take a second to line it up properly and squeeze the glue down. Then flip it over and add your line of glue to the straight edge and maybe a little bit around the sides to help everything get closed. Now fold it closed like a sandwich. If you can see an open gap along the sides and that bothers you, you can take a minute to use some glue to close it up. And of course, remember, you can always go in at a later time and add a little bit more glue if you'd like. Once both ears are on, it's time to select the color for your Ewok's hood. Fold the piece in half and cut a notch out of each side at about a 45-degree angle. This should be going in about a third of the way into the felt. These notches will make a space for your ears to poke through. Don't put any glue on yet. Just try fitting your hood over top of your Ewok's head and seeing how it fits. If your felt has a lot of wrinkles in the middle and between the ears, you might want to cut those notches a little bit bigger. If you'd like your hood to have a sort of tattered look, you can cut a zigzag pattern out of the bottom of both sides by cutting little triangles out of the edges. Now see how that looks. Oh, we're good to go. Choose a piece of light or dark brown felt to turn into the face. Fold it in half and starting at the folded edge, cut through both layers at a time to make an oval shape. Start by making your oval very big. You can always trim it to make it a little bit smaller a bit at a time. For this Ewok, I'm going to add some shaggy details in another color of felt. Using the oval you cut for your Ewok's face as a guide, cut a slightly larger shape out of the second color. You can give this larger oval a shaggy, furry look by cutting zigzags all the way around the outside of the shape. Let's try this out to see how it looks. You can decide whether your Ewok will have a shaggy outline or not And you might even decide to flip the colors and have a light brown face. Now let's assemble the face with some hot glue or tacky glue. We have some googly eyes, and we're going to make our nose out of a short section of pipe cleaner. Pinch one end between two fingers and twist the rest of the pipe cleaner around in a really tight spiral. This should make a flat, fuzzy little circle. Glue everything where you want it on the face, and then glue the face to the hood. If you'd like your Ewok to be carrying a spear, we can make that in a similar way to how we made the nose. Tightly fold short sections of the pipe cleaner down to make a flat oval shape. We are going to glue the spear in between the two layers that make up the hand. Apply glue to one half of the long oval shape in a sort of U shape. Lay the spear inside and then fold the other side over so that the curved edges line up. Check to see where you'd like to put your Ewok's arm before you put glue on it. Then apply a thin line to that straight folded edge and glue to the body of your Ewok. Now you can go around the body of your Ewok and glue down any loose edges, like the sides of the hood. Once you've done this, it'll be a little bit hard to change any details, like the color of your hood or where you put arms. Now it's time for any finishing touches you might like to put on your Ewok. I'm going to give it a belt or a sash out of this piece of cord, but you can add all sorts of interesting details using extra pieces of felt or things from around the house. What do you think an Ewok might need to carry if it's out in the woods? Speaking of the woods, I think these Ewoks need some place to live. This piece of card has corrugation on one side and is smooth on the other. On the smooth side, draw a line that is perpendicular to the corrugation lines, running across them, not with them. Then draw 6 or so long, skinny triangles from that line to the edge of the card. These are going to be branches for our tree, so you can make them a little bit wobbly on purpose. Then cut out all those triangles and save them for later. With the corrugation lines on the outside, or facing down on the table, roll the card up tightly so that it's happy turning into a cylinder shape for our tree. Line the edges up and tape it together. Put a layer of tape on the inside and reinforce it a bit with some extra tape on the outside. Now gently bend and crumple those triangles into interesting branch shapes. Paper rolls from home can be different sizes, so your Ewok might be small enough to tuck right inside the tree, or it might be a little bit bigger and just sit on top in its branches. Use those leftover triangle bits to make more branches. Fold them in half and crumple them into interesting twisty shapes. Then glue 2 or more together to make even more interesting branches. Glue them anywhere you want on your tree, and yours will look completely unique in the Ewok forest. Ewoks live on the forest moon Endor, and it's very, very green there. So we should probably use some fuzzy green yarn or other things you might be able to find to make your Ewok's forest habitat nice and lush and soft and jungly. There we go. It's got all sorts of fun loopy vines on it, and it looks like a perfectly cozy place for an Ewok to have a nap. Wasn't that easy? I bet you can make a whole Ewok village if you wanted to. Full steam ahead activities are available nearly every Saturday at the Fort St. John Public Library. They're free. Just come and get one. And may the 4th be with you.